Alrighty guys, well after collecting all that firewood, I'm about whooped. I was going to cook a really big meal tonight, but I'm just going to eat my lunch for tomorrow and maybe I'll cook a big lunch. But I'm thinking tonight some hearty ham and bean soup with some crackers sounds pretty damn good. So that's what we're going to be doing. And it'll be part one of get a haircut and get a real job. You ever had that said to you? You know, get a haircut, get a real job. Don't be a slob. Get it together like your big brother Bob. I think that's how it goes. And remember, when you're sitting here fucking around with a knife like this, be very careful. But yeah, get a haircut and get a real job. Okay. Who out there has been basically at the top of their field, making great money, but burned out on the job and just don't give a fuck anymore, and you're looking at another job, any job, just anything to get out of what you're doing because you hate it. Doesn't matter that you're making great money, you just hate it. Okay, now what I'm talking about right now is back in 80s and 90s. A lot of times I worked as a drywall finisher. One of my main trades was finishing concrete, finishing drywall, doing plaster and stucco, any kind of a trowel trade. That was my mainstay when I did construction work. I was working for about the biggest and the best drywall contractor in this area. He's no longer with us, he's dead. His name was Brian Harper, and he took on a lot of jobs that other contractors were scared to do because they were so massive and so big. And because of the kind of finisher I was, he would give me these big, giant fucking McMansions and shit. I mean, they would take me like 2-3 weeks to finish. But they were like, you know, really big, slick. There was never no popcorn or nothing like that. Cathedral ceilings, 3 floors, you know, the whole 9 yards. Just a fucking nightmare for a finisher. But he had 2 other crews that did track work, and they ran the bazookas and banjos and the boxes and all that kind of stuff. If you're familiar with the trades, automatic taping tools and stuff. Really nice stuff. But if you're doing precision work, it's not that good. And I was so good at doing slick finished work that, basically, when I got done, dang it. Oh, the hell with that. Dang it. That worked out real good, didn't it? Okay. So, dang it. Out. There we go. So, basically, okay, I forgot where I was at. Alright, so I'm finishing these giant houses. Big fucking houses. They're always slick finished, massive corner bead, sometimes rounded bullnose bead, 9-foot walls. Just the stuff that the average finisher just doesn't want to fuck with. And I was so good that my guy would sit there and he would tell the contractors, now look, this guy takes a lot longer than the average finisher. But when he leaves, that place is ready to be painted. And your painter is going to do nothing more than maybe a little touch up here and there. And that's going to be what the fucking trim carpenters knocked into the walls and whatnot, because my finishing was about as perfect as it could get. But I'm getting burned out. I mean, I'm working every day, 6 to 7 days a week, and I'm working long hours. I mean, long fucking hours. Anywhere from 9 to 12 hours a day. That's what it took to get that job done. But I was making mad money if I was in a what I would have considered a small house, which would have been about 250, 300 boards. And I could get that done pretty quick, but a lot of them things, they were monsters. And so I'm sitting there spending all this time, and every now and then I'd look in the paper, see what was going on for job ads, classifieds and whatnot, and I kept seeing this ad: bail bond runners wanted, must be willing to travel and work long hours. Didn't know what a bail bond runner was, but I kept seeing this ad come up about every 2 months or so in the paper. And one day it hit me. I'm like, you know, I'm fucking every day, no matter where the job is, it's at least 20 miles away, sometimes 60 miles or more. And I'm working long hours. I need to call these motherfuckers up. So they had an address. I didn't call them up. And so I go down there, and lo and behold, I found out that a bail bond runner is basically a bounty hunter, a North Carolina licensed bail enforcement agent, can put guys in jail and get guys out of jail. So when I figured that out, right, I'm down there talking to the guy, and I'm like, holy shit, fucking modern day bounty hunter, fucking put me in, coach, I want to play. But, you know, I'm standing there like I'm probably wearing a pair of painter's pants and a white t-shirt and whatnot, and the guy's like, well, you seem like a nice guy, you got any computer skills? Because he knows I'm a construction guy. And I'm like, not a one. Don't even know how to turn one on. And he's like, man, I would actually give you a job if you had computer skills. And I'm like, motherfucker. And so I'm downtown, so I went and talked to all the other bail enforcement agencies, and they all kind of blew me off. They told me the same thing, but I found out why later, because almost every day a cowboy comes into the fucking office and tells you how scared he's not to go do this job, and it's like, he's automatically 86. You tell me you're not scared to go fucking somewhere you've never been before and arrest somebody? You a fucking dumbass. So anyways, so nobody would hire me because the quote unquote, I didn't have any computer skills. And at the time I didn't know, really, all we were doing for computer skills was turning the fucking Windows 95 on, putting a national phone book CD in, and you would be looking for relatives of who you were looking for. So I go back to doing sheetrock, and I'm hating life. And then one day a paper comes in from the community college, and I see they're advertising a computer class called Computer for Fraidy Cats. Windows 3.1. That's what they taught me, right? So I take this class, and they said that I would know how to fucking work a computer. I could send emails. I could make files. Do basic fucking computer skills, right? So I fucking take this class, and I'm the second youngest person. Or actually, I was the youngest person. I was, how old was I? I was 30-something, 34, 35. There was a guy a little bit older than me, same routine. He was fucking tired of construction. He wanted to get into computers so he could get into architectural drawing with a CAD machine and all that shit when it was just busting loose. Everyone else in the class was like fucking grandma and grandpa, and they were just wanting to learn how to fucking communicate with their kids and grandkids, right? So anyways, I take this fucking class. Let's see if this helps out. I take this class. Now I know how to fucking turn a computer on. So I go back down to the original place. It was called Global Bail Bonds. And that's a whole story in itself right there. But so I go back down there, and I walk into the place proud as a peacock, man. I go in there, and I show the guy my fucking certificate that I fucking took that class. And then he was like, he started fucking hee-hawing around and shit, and the secretary actually kind of ran that business. Even though he was the boss, she ran a pretty tight ship for a secretary. She looks at the guy, she punches him right in the fucking arm. She says, God damn it, Ronnie went to the fucking school, learned how to turn a computer on, give the man a fucking job. So he says, you know what? He says, you're right. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, he says, I'm willing to hire you. He says, but you got to talk to my boss, the man I'm buying this company from. So I'm like, sure, no problem. At this point, I'm all in. I don't give a fuck what I got to do. I'm going to go fucking catch bad guys and bring them back to justice. So I go over to this guy, his house. And for those of you that are local, you'll know who I'm talking about. The man's name was Charlie White. Charlie White was a real character. Back in the day when Court Street was open, he had bars, and he was always into something. And so he gets to talking to me, and he's feeling me out, and he's like, yeah, son, he says, I think you'll work out. He says, go ahead, go get you a haircut and show up. He told me like 2 days later, and I'm like, I looked him right in the eye, and I said, I'll take care of that. I had no intentions of getting a fucking haircut. Fuck you. Last time I cut my hair was when I joined the fucking Marine Corps. And I got a haircut every fucking 10 days. I had enough haircuts in 4 years to last me my whole fucking life. That's why I wear my hair long now. I don't need no motherfucking barber. And so what I do, this is where the story gets good. So I want the job, but I have absolutely no fucking intentions of getting a haircut. So I came up with the bright idea of going to a beauty shop where they sell shampoo and wigs and hairbrushes and all that shit. So I go in there and I buy a wig that looks halfway decent. So I take this wig, and then I go to the fucking mall because I need someone to style this wig for me, right? Because my intentions were, when I went into the office, I would wear long sleeve shirts, like slacks, you know. Sometimes I wore a tie. My beard wasn't this long back then, so I would kind of do like a lawyer, kind of like, you know, I'd grease it up and kind of pack it down. And then I'd put this fucking wig on. And you wouldn't recognize me. But anyways, back to the fucking mall. So I go into this like unisex fucking haircut place, and I'm thinking it's not going to be a big deal. I'm just going to go in there and say, hey, how you doing, man? I need this fucking crazy ass fucking wig styled so I don't look like a dope. And like the first girl I talked to, she's like, her eyes got like as big as saucers. She freaked out. She didn't know what to fucking think. So she goes and gets this other girl, and I try to tell her I need this fucking wig fucking styled and shit. And they're all like, the whole fucking place is like flipping the fuck out, right? And I guess they're thinking they're talking to America's Most Wanted or some shit, like I'm planning to go rob a bank or some shit. And finally, there was one male that worked in that fucking salon. He was actually a really nice guy, but he was queer as a $3 bill. Not that it matters, but it was funny. So he comes over to me, and he's all puffed up, and he's trying to be just as fucking manly as that little dick sucker could be, right? And then I'm kind of laughing about that inside, but I start explaining to him the whole fucking story, that I need this wig styled because I'm going to be a fucking bail enforcement agent, and I ain't getting my fucking hair cut. And I told him, I said, yeah, man, it'll be cool. I'm going to go into the fucking office, and I'll be Mr. fucking Smooth with the fucking long sleeves and everything, and the short hair and the tight beard, and then when somebody fucks up and I got to go get them, let my hair down, comb my beard back out, put on a t-shirt or a shirt, wherever, depending on where I was going would depend on how I dressed. But I always had a normal, kind of a motorcycle type of look to me. And then I'd go catch guys because they wouldn't recognize me right away until it's like, once I grabbed your motherfucking ass, it was too late. But yeah. And so I show up to work, right? And I show up and I got me some dress slacks on, and I got me a long sleeve shirt on. And I even got me a fucking tie, and I got this jabroni fucking wig on. And everybody was like, yeah, fucking thumbs up, dude. I'm like, improvise, overcome, and adapt. I told you I was a fucking Marine, and I ain't getting my hair cut. And so that blew over. And before it gets any darker, I want to talk about my first day on the job. Funny as fuck, and then I'm going to cut this story off. My first night down at the fucking office, and it was like, basically what you would do is you'd fuck around, and if somebody needed to get out of jail, if you felt like letting them out, you'd let them out. And we had a Western Union money order thing in there, so we did a lot of that shit too at night. But and the office was at downtown Court Street, and this was already after Court Street had like closed. It's a ghost town. It was before they redid it, and after the apocalypse. Well, whatever. It was a ghost town, but there was transvestite hookers down there that I did not know about, right? So I'm driving in my truck, and back then I had this old 1972 Ford pickup truck. So I still looked like a construction worker, which was to my benefit when I went hunting. But I'm going to pull in, and it was like, you know, it's like a downtown area, and it was cobblestone and shit, and it's kind of tight, so you'd like go down and you take a left, and you come around and park behind the building, right? So I'm going in there, and I see this black girl down there. Well, I thought it was a black girl. And she waves at me, and I didn't think nothing of it. I waved at her. And I pulled around, and I pulled in the parking lot. Man, I hadn't even turned the fucking truck off, and this fucking monster's at my door. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, right? Fucking had shoulders like Michelle Obama. And I step out of the truck, and now he freaks out, right? Because he sees my fucking badge and my gun, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, no, it's all right. I said, I work here. I said, I just started working here at Global Bail Bonds, because I'm thinking, well, you know, got to be nice to people like that, because they probably know a lot of things, just like on the TV shows and the movies, because I was a self-taught bounty hunter. Everything I know about bounty hunting, I learned in a book and from watching reruns of old TV shows. And that's the truth, I shit you not. But so, I'm out of the truck and I'm talking to this person, right? And it calms down when it realizes that I'm not a cop and I'm not going to arrest him for fucking wanting to suck my dick. And I introduce myself and I say, you know, my name's Pete and I work here, blah, 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 blah. And I hold my hand out to shake its hand. That motherfucker had a goddamn paw like a fucking gorilla. I mean, I thought I had big hands. This fucking bitch grabbed hold of my hand and she fucking swallowed it. And I'm like, damn. But I thought that was really funny. So when I first started working there was a few things I needed to get up to speed on as to what was going on in downtown Jacksonville, North Carolina. That was a good one. But I know it's getting dark. I don't even know if you can see me anymore. My soup is hot, and that's part one of get a haircut and get a real job. So I struggled to get the job, and then when I got the job, they did the same old fucking thing they've been doing to me for fucking 30 fucking years. Well, we'd love to hire you, but you really need to get a haircut, son. And then what happens next is, well, you really need to get you some nicer clothes. You really should sell that fucking motorcycle. You know, you really should settle down. I didn't want to hear any of that goddamn shit a long time ago. Alrighty guys, good morning, and I don't know about you, but I slept pretty dang good last night. It only got down to like 40 degrees. I slept good. Still need to suck it up and get a cold weather bag, a modern day one, and quit trying to fool around and how's that old saying go, turn a sow's ear into a silk purse. So anyways, get a haircut and get a real job part 2. I'll do that while we're having breakfast. I already had, for the record, made some coffee on the fire. I figured out how to do it. Real simple. Make a half a pot, the water boils faster. Make a half a pot instead of a whole pot. Worked out great, but I ain't turning the camera on right away in the morning. Sorry guys, you wouldn't like me in the morning. I don't even like myself in the morning, okay? So let's fire up the stove. Hopefully I got enough gas left. Okay, so, and breakfast is going to be some oatmeal, raisins, honey, and some green tea because I already drank a bunch of coffee. Part 2 of get a haircut and get a real job. Now, as I recall, we left off where I talked about the first night on duty and I met the transvestite hooker. It was quite a shock to me, I can assure you that. Anyways, so this is probably in my top 3 favorite bounty hunting stories of all time. So I've been doing this a while, and the old man, Charlie White, he accepted me wearing a wig in the office and whatnot, and he actually thought it was a pretty cool idea. It showed that I was flexible, and I could think outside the box, and I could improvise, overcome, and adapt at a moment's notice. Ta-da, right? So anyways, so I'd been down there doing this shit for, I don't know, 2-3 months. Get a skip, the fucking clown's a barber, right? I'm like, oh, fuck. I look at my buddy, and I'm like, this one's mine, period. A lot of times you'd bring a partner and you just would tag team someone. It made life a lot easier. But anyways, so I find this guy's he's a barber, and he skipped out on like a fucking, I don't know, he was a $500 skip, but to me it was principle that mattered. Plus, when I seen he was a barber, because I wasn't the guy that got him out, when I seen that he was a barber, I was like, the light went off in my head. Real simple. I had a brilliant fucking scam, so I'm like, okay. So I start tracing this dude, and I find out that he moved down the road about 120 miles from Jacksonville. I'm not going to mention the name of the town, it doesn't matter, but it was a little town kind of southwest of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Find out the dumbass is working as a barber. I mean, you can't make this shit up, right? So he's doing his thing, thinking he's safe, and I track him down. So what do? I call him up. And this was in the olden days where you could do like a, well, I don't remember what it was. It was like star fucking 67 or some dumb shit. And it would block your number on the ID, right? So I call this fucking clown up, and I tell him I need a haircut. And I lay it on just as heavy as I could. I tell him, yeah, man, I fucking filled out an application for a base job. They fucking accepted me. I fucking whizzed in a cup the whole fucking 9 yards. Except I got one more hurdle. I got to get a fucking haircut. And the guy's like, really? I said, yeah, man, I've been growing my hair out for like fucking 15 fucking years, man. And I got to fucking cut it or I ain't fucking working. Okay, I guess that's cooking. Damn. Shit. Well, we run out of gas, folks. All right, well, hang on a minute. Go take a whiz or whatever. I'll put this on the fire. What's left of it. Yeah, this is spittering and sputtering. It's either because it's too fucking cold or it's just out of gas. Anyways, all right, so where was I? Thank you, Carl. So I'm laying it on fucking thick to this dude. I'm telling him, you know, I got a job on the base and everything, blah, 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 blah. And so I make an appointment to get a haircut. Yeah, I did. And so I drive on down to this motherfucker's barbershop, right? And he's working in a 2-chair barbershop, a little dinky building. It was like just outside of town, kind of like on the edge of town. It was just outside of town. Anyone that lives in North Carolina knows how that works. There'll be a little rinky-dink town, and then sometimes there'll be little old buildings. They maybe were gas stations or stores a long time ago, and now they're something else. So I get down there, and I'm like, all right, here we go, showtime. So I get out of the truck. Oh, and by the way, of course, because I'm going to get a haircut, I got my beard combed out nice, and I'm just wearing like a black t-shirt with no sleeves and fucking blue jeans, you know, normal attire for me. And had my hair all combed out nice and long. It was about to there at that time. And so I go walking into this place with a full fucking head of hair just waving in the breeze like a 1980s fucking rock star, right? And I come in there, and when I step into the place, there's 2 like old guys in like, I swear to God, man, they're wearing like fucking feed and seed hats or some shit like that. Some type of agricultural hats. They both actually were wearing bib overalls and flannel shirts. I shit you not, right? And so I walk in there and I'm like, are you so-and-so? And he's like, oh yeah, man. And this guy is fucking drooling. I mean, think about it. He's a fucking barber. And now he's looking at all this fucking hair all over me, just flowing in the breeze like I'm fucking, I don't know, pick anybody from the fucking 80s that was a superstar in music, right? They all had long fucking pretty hair, right? Just don't wear spandex unless you're in the squared circle. Anyway, so I walk in, this dude's like getting a fucking boner. And so I reach out to shake his hand, and when he grabbed my hand, I fucking put the fucking clamp on him, and I fucking threw him to the fucking ground, and I put my knee in his back, and I fucking handcuffed him, right? And then I stand his ass up, and I look at the two old farts, look right at him, and I'm like, there'll be no more haircuts here today. And I waltzed him out to the fucking truck and put him in the back of my truck. And back then, if you remember right from part one, I had my construction truck. It was a 1972 blue and white Ford F100 truck with a 360 in it, headers, dual exhaust, and chrome rims, typical fucking redneck truck, right? So I have a fucking log chain run through the gunnels, right? So what I would do, if you were a fucking dickhead or you pissed me off, I'd put you in the back of my truck and I'd handcuff you around the fucking log chain, and you could sit in the back of the truck on the way back to the magistrate. Fuck you, right? If you were nice and easy and I didn't have to fuck with you too much, I would allow you to sit in the truck with me, and we'd stop by McDonald's. And sometimes I'd be a smart ass and buy him a Happy Meal, or sometimes I'd just buy him something to eat. He was like, hey, dude, I just made fucking $500 for fucking throwing you on the fucking ground and putting you in my truck. The least I could do is buy you a Happy Meal, right? And back then it was standard procedure when you always gave someone a chance to come clean and empty their pockets before they went to jail, because they was already in enough trouble. 99% of the time, guys would do it. Every now and then there'd be a fucking hard head that'd hold out, and then he'd go in there, and then they'd always say this, hey man, I thought you searched the dude. And I'm like, yeah, I did. He must have had it up his butt, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I'm certainly not a proctologist. So anyway, so yeah, I grabbed this motherfucker, I'd throw him on the ground, fucking handcuff him, yank him back up in front of these two fucking tobacco chewing farmers, and there'll be no more haircuts today. That was a good one. That guy was so shocked. I mean, he went from like to just like that. I mean, he was in his fucking glory. He just knew he was just gonna go chop, 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 chop. I was gonna make his day, but it ended up we made my day. And that is the story of get a haircut and get a real job. And I got a million bounty hunting stories, trust me. I mean, I could tell you stories about Charlie White, who owned the original company. I could tell you stories about the guy that bought it from him. He turned out to be a real fucking scumbag. I shouldn't really mention the guy's name, but I will. It was, and he was a dirty motherfucker. That's why I stopped working for Global Bail Bonds, and oh man. And I ended up going to New Bern, and I worked for a place called 5 Points Bail Bonding for a man named Bob Holloway. And it was me and his nephew. We worked together. His name's Terry Holloway. He's up in Greenville, actually. He has his own company, and I'm having a fucking senior moment now. I forget. I think it's Second Chance Bail Bonding or something like that. He stuck it out, went on his own, got his own company. So he's in Greenville. If you're ever in Greenville and you get in trouble, ask the jailer who Terry Holloway is, and I'm sure they'll be happy to give you his phone number. And you just tell him, you know me. You tell him, you know Pete from 1822 MC Adventures and More. Me and him used to be road dogs. It'll take him a minute. When he remembers me, he'll be like, oh yeah, I remember him. Me and him, we had some great adventures. That'll be other stories. Maybe remind me about the time we went to West Virginia and fucking Terry thought we were in Ku Klux Klan territory and he was going to get lynched. Poor guy. He didn't know the difference between a hillbilly and a fucking retard, so he got pretty scared that day. It's a good story. I'll have to tell that one later. I'm looking over there at the water, and it looks like it's hot, so it is time to put a glove on and get this monkey business going. Because I need to break down camp, need to go home, then I got to go to the bank Hopefully my Pelosi crumbs is in my account. Plus, I have an actual fucking paycheck to cash. Now, because it is the 20th, I really would like to get to the bank today before. I just think it's a good idea to go to the bank today and draw some cash out. You know, unfortunately for anybody out there, by the time you hear this message, it's going to be after the 20th, and whatever happens fucking happens. Hopefully everybody just bitches and pisses and moans about it. I have no idea. I'm not even going to say, because of all the stupidity that's going on in the world of censorship and so-called journalism. At the moment, I just don't have a comment on that shit. I just don't. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and I know what's going on. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We're all adults here. We all are fucking smart enough to make up our own minds. But just remember, there's your truth, and then there is the truth. Don't get them fucking confused, guys. Okay, so. Yep, let's do this. With just a touch of ash and whatever for seasonings, should be pretty good. If you follow the channel, you've seen me do this before. Regular oatmeal, raisins, and these cool little German honey sticks. And I do believe what I need to do is I need to find me a little plastic squeeze bottle for honey, and that'd be much more convenient, and there'd be zero impact. Because this little package, it either goes into the fire or goes in my pocket and goes home and ends up in the landfill. Either way, I'm polluting. Pick your poison, right? Let it go to the landfill, feed buzzards and coyotes and skunks and rats and shit, or put a nanogram of whatever the fuck into the atmosphere. Ain't a good choice there. So I usually go with put it in the fire pit and let it disintegrate. All right. And I'm low on water, so I am not going to be drinking my Tang. What little bit of water I got left, I'm going to need it to dump on the fire pit. Alrighty guys, here we go. We got some oatmeal and some green tea with honey. Excellent breakfast in the woods, if I don't say so myself. Good stuff. I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to eat my breakfast, and I'm going to pack up. To be continued. And all I got to say besides follow me, I know a shortcut is hi ho. Let's go.